What up, Raffalitos? Welcome back to my channel. We are still at Ogle. Lots of airplanes taking off right now. That's another one taking off from the Ogle airport. See if you can see, that's another airplane just taking off from the Ogle airport here at Ogle on the east coast. Demerara. This is the AC Marriott. The sign says AC Marriott Hotel, Guyana, coming soon. Last quarter of 2023. So the initial completion date was supposed to be in the last quarter of 2023, and it says there retail units available. That is if you wanted to have a shop, you wanted to sell something in the lobby of the hotel, you could contact them at Trinuana. So this is actually a Trinidadian company that is building this hotel. Trinuana at gmail.com if you want to contact this company that's building the AC Marriott Hotel here at Ogle. Trinuana is the name of the company. At gmail.com is the email address. All right, that's Trinuana. And this is a final look at what the hotel is expected to be when it's completed. This is the front entrance that is off the highway. Right, these guys are constructing the front entrance of the hotel. It's going to be like a driveway leading up to the hotel. As you can see, construction company completing this hotel construction is China Harbor Engineers. And this is another view of that's the billboard at the front of the hotel. And that's another residential building, possibly hotel, I don't know, but we'll see, being constructed in this neck of the woods. This is Ogle Airport Road. And you can see from the previous video where I did an extensive walk along the highway, the new highway. You can see how far the construction has come. Now, a lot of development is happening here at Ogle, and some of it is not yet clear what they're building, but what they did is they demolished some of the structures that were here at the entrance to the airport. Right, this is the entrance, and they're constructing now. Morning. They're constructing now what appears to be some properties on the airport. So it may be a parking lot, right? This land that they're preparing, I don't know if it's a parking lot, an extension of the parking lot, or if they're going to put down some new buildings on this plot of land. But this is the entrance to the Ogle airport. These cars are driving up to the airport. This is the billboard here at the front of the airport. So that's the billboard displaying Air Services Limited. Air Services Limited is one of the companies that is owned by Jerry Gavai, I believe. They do pilot training. I think they also handle some tours to the Kaieteur National Park and so on. So what we're looking at here is some land that is being prepared at the entrance of Ogle Airport for construction. I don't know what they're building yet. I assume they're building some more parking lots because there's actually need for more parking. Somebody was querying about parking at Ogle, and I said before, there's very little parking available at Ogle. Most people just take a taxi. They don't drive up and leave their cars here and fly out from Ogle. They just take a taxi and leave their cars at home. But who knows what's happening. So this is a construction construction site. They've actually covered this part of it with cement, so they've actually made a huge, what looks like a parking lot now, but I don't know if it will remain a parking lot. See cars driving in over land. So this is what is here now. Evergreen Adventures is here. This is a tour company, one of the tour groups that take you to Kaichur Falls. Right, this is Evergreen. They're located here at Ogle Airport. Evergreen Adventures is a tour company that takes you to Kaichur Falls. They arrange tours to Kaichur Falls. And Trans-Guyana Airways is another airline company that does regional and local flights. That is flights to the interior of Guyana, flights say from Ogle to Lethem and so on. Trans-Guyana Airways, that's one of the companies that does it. There is also a local company here called Roraima Airways. That's their group, their company, their building, Roraima Airways. And straight ahead, that is the Ogle Airport, the control tower and so on. It's a tiny airport, so not a whole lot happening here. Not a whole lot going on here. But as you can see, some construction work on the way. They're preparing the land, and I just wanted to show you some of the developments in this neck of the woods. So it seems as if this area, this land, this is the sign here says Evergreen Adventures in Baganara Island Resort. Their office is located here. Don't know if they're open this time of the day. It's about, let's see what time it is. It's about 10 past 8 on a Tuesday morning here in Guyana. Tuesday the 7th of January. But this is what it looks like here at Ogle. A lot of construction work being done. New construction. We're gonna wait to see what this looks like when it's completed. Alright, we're gonna have to wait to see what this looks like when it's completed. But for now, you can see there's new construction happening here. As the sign here says, it's Koraya Mining Company. Right, so the sign tells you what you can find. There's Trans-Guyana Airways, that's a Koraya Mining Company, and Interior Transportation Services, and Evergreen Adventures. I guess they're all located in this neck of the woods here at Ogle. And this is traffic to the airport. Now this is the old airport road. Right, that's looking north. Old airport road. And this is the new road. And it's still under construction. That's looking south towards the Marriott. Sorry, AC Marriott. New AC Marriott Hotel, looking south along this East Coast bypass road. And that's looking north along the East Coast bypass road. I'm going to cross over this median so we can walk on the east side of this road. Now, I just did a long walk along this East Coast bypass road from the highway, East Coast Highway, to the AC Marriott Hotel, and this is the return journey back to the East Coast. Just wanted to give you in this video a little bit of information about the development, right? The Ogle Airport development and airport development here in general. So that's the Ogle Airport. We're looking at it from East Coast Bypass Road. So the government has actually been investing in transportation in the last 3 years or so, since ExxonMobil has been operating and providing cash from the sale of oil. So Guyana owns 14.25% of the revenue from the oil and gas industry in Guyana. So 14.25% of all the oil produced belongs to Guyana as profit and royalty. And from that sale, Guyana has now collected about $6 billion from the oil and gas industry. So that money is paid directly into a savings account at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, and currently that account now contains a little over $3.2 billion because the government has spent about $3 billion so far, right? So the country has earned about $6 billion, a little over $6 billion from oil as of December 2024, and the government has spent a little over $3 billion, so about 50% of the money from oil and gas has been spent on things like construction and other development work in Guyana. This is an election year, and what is at issue is whether in fact the government is overspending and using that money for political reasons. So for example, currently the government is giving out a cash grant of $100,000 to all Guyanese. This is very much needed by Guyanese citizens who have experienced serious inflation over the last 5 years, and their wages has not kept up with the increasing price of food and commodities and so on. So Guyanese actually need the $100,000 that government is giving out. The problem that complicates it is that the government has not been doing so, has been giving out money, but not in an even and fair way. For several years now, the government has been giving out $250,000 cash grants to selected groups of people in the society who tended to be supporters of the ruling People's Progressive Party. So it is only after years of doing that, giving out cash to its supporters, that the government is now giving out less than half of the sum it has been giving to its supporters, $100,000. That has been open to the rest of the society. The problem is that in an election year, that looks strangely like vote buying. So the problem is not that the people of Guyana don't need that money. People desperately need the money. The problem is that it's been contaminated with politics. There's a point at which the country should be separate from politics, because once elections are over and the government is formed, there is an opposition and a leading or ruling party. In Guyana, that tends to be 50-50, right, or 51-49. So 49% of the government is the opposition, 51% is the winning party, and combined they form the government. And so So once a government is formed, it should not be a partisan operation. It should be leadership by, a group of Guyanese who represent the whole country. The problem is that that is not how politics often works. People don't cooperate, and each party that's ruling tries to get an advantage to stay in power, because it's very, very lucrative to be a politician in power. A lot of our politicians in Guyana have become millionaires and billionaires through holding on to that political job for a long time. So, for example, the current party has been in power for 28 years, and if you check on a lot of those people who have been around in the party for that time, they have become insanely rich, insanely wealthy. Right? So the problem is corruption distorts the operation of the government, and so when you're giving out $100,000 grants to citizens in a election year, it looks very much like vote buying. It's another plane taking off from Ogle Airport. That's another plane taking off from Ogle Airport. So the issue of development gets complicated by politics, because although the country needs the money to be spent on development, what the country doesn't need is the corruption that comes along with the development. And what is always strange to me is how people develop amnesia and they develop moral forgetfulness. Suddenly, when their party is in power, they can't see the corruption, right? So when corruption is happening and your party is ruling in power, you can't see the corruption. All you see is the people complaining, the people who are opposing. But yeah, my grandmother, who is Guyanese, was born in Guyana in the early 1900s. She was born in 1920. One of my grandfathers was born in 1911. Both of them are now deceased. But my grandmother had a saying. She used to ask, it's a very old African proverb, or not proverb, but saying. They had very cryptic ways of expressing themselves. So my grandmother used to say, does anybody run from good? So when you see people complaining and people running away, it's not because they're experiencing something good. It's usually because they're experiencing something bad. So when people are saying, look, there's something wrong with the way the government is handling the distribution of $100,000, it's not that they're complaining about the money, they're complaining about the way in which it's being distributed. And that's the problem when you involve politics in development. This is what the new highway, East Coast Bypass Road, looks like now on the 7th day of January 2025. So you can see they've built the median, right? That little wall that's dividing the two sides of the highway has been constructed. We're walking north on the east side. Right, these are the northbound lanes of the highway. So the issue is the way in which the money is being handled and how it's becoming politicized. We're quite happy to receive a $100,000 grant, but there are some irregularities. One of which is the fact that before they've started giving out these $100,000 grants, they were already giving out $250,000. The government was to its supporters in select communities and doing it secretly. But the problem with giving out $250,000 in secret is that it's not going to remain a secret. People are going to start to talk, and a lot of people have talked about the money they have received. The second problem is the way in which it's being handled. Now that it's being given out to $100,000 grants, cash grants are being given out to the wider population of Guyana, that is citizens, it's being handled in a very unprofessional manner. We have people, pensioners, lined up in the sun and the rain outdoors to receive these cash grants in person. You have to line up to register and have a picture taken, and then line up to receive a check. And people have gotten ill standing in the rain and the sun. One person got a stroke standing out there in the elements. And when all of this could have been handled electronically, right? You could simply open accounts at the various banks in Guyana and transferred the cash directly to people's bank accounts. Now, everybody should have been given a bank account opened by the national government, and that money could have been deposited into their accounts. And it's only at the time of withdrawing the money that they would need to verify their identity and their citizenship and so on. So it could have been handled differently. Part of it is the corruption, part of it is the unprofessional way in which it was handled. Here we are back at the construction site, the north end of the bypass road. So this is the north end. Of course, across the waterway, that is the Pradoville housing development. We've done an exploration of that in previous videos. If you want to see Pradoville, just do a search and you'll see some of the videos I made in Pradoville. But this is what the bypass road, which used to be called the Ogle Airport Road, this is what the East Coast Bypass Road looks like now on January 7, 2025. They're going to have to fill in all of these canals eventually and to make the road wider, and that's where the road is at this stage. Like I said in the previous video, a lot of these workers are actually Indian nationals from India. You can't tell the difference, of course, because 50% of the population here is Indian, so you can't look at people and say these people are Indian nationals. But these are some of the complicating factors that have made development or that are making the process of infrastructure development complicated and less than transparent. Here we're back at the train line road. Right, I was looking east. Train line road looking east. There's a lot of vehicles coming down from the east coast. And that's train line road looking west. A lot of construction still to be done. Right, this is a lot of construction. Morning. This is where the construction is, and a lot of it remains to be done. They're building the culverts and filling in the canals to widen this road, Airport Road, to make it into the East Coast Bypass Road. These are some of the workers here. Like I said, a lot of these construction workers are from India. They're Indian nationals. They're actually speaking Hindi, which you can't hear in this video, but that's what's happening. And one of the things I'm addressing in this series, this season 17, is India's global impact on Guyana. And we're going to talk about how Indian companies are constructed. That is how their Indian companies are. Morning. Yes, how Indian companies are constructed, that means talking about Indian billionaires. Right, if you want to talk about how the companies that operate globally on behalf of India, when the Indian government, gives a loan to Guyana and offers to build a road such as this, it is not the Indian government that is employing these men that are working on the road, on the work site. These men are actually working for Indian companies. The contract is given to an Indian company, such as Reliance Industries, that has construction companies in its portfolio. Those companies employ Indian nationals, and those Indian nationals are brought to Guyana to build these roads. So we're going to talk about that in future videos as we discuss the technical operation of India globally. India, China, America, Russia, and so on, and the UK, even Canada, have an impact on the world through the companies that are nationally owned by those or registered in those countries. So, for example, ExxonMobil extends America's impact to Guyana because ExxonMobil is an American company. Oh My Gold Mines is a Canadian company. Gold Star is a Canadian company, and they are exerting an impact on Guyana through, that is, Canada is exerting its impact on Guyana through its companies like Oh My Gold Mines and Gold Star. And so India is exerting its impact on Guyana through Indian companies like Reliance Industries, which is owned by the Adani family, Mukesh and Anil Adani. So when the Indian government offers to build a road in Guyana, it's basically contracting one of its companies, giving that company a contract to build, and that company is employing Indian nationals. So that is what we want to discuss in this season, how these countries exert their impact on Guyana in this period of national development. We're going to explore some of the other countries that are also impacting and influencing Guyana. Another, in this case, helicopter. Not the helicopter passing. We're actually under the flight path of the airport, so this could be a noisy neighborhood to live in because a lot of the air traffic passes over these homes. This is the newest of them. This is Ogle townhouses. Alright, that's Ogle townhouses. Seems like a long line of rental property. They are going to be the newest residential home in this neighborhood. As we come back to the end of, that is the north end of the East Coast Highway, East Coast Bypass Road, intersection with the East Coast Highway at Corrida Park. But that's it, guys. That's what's happening here in this neck of the woods. That's what we're going to talk about in the next several months, next 6 months. That is season 17 of Raphael Nation Vlogs. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Happy New Year 2025 to those of you who are just joining us. Wishing you the best year of your lifetime. And if you have the time and can spare the resources, come join us, take a vacation, visit us here in Guyana in 2025 and see what is happening in the fastest growing economy in the world. Later! Now here we are back at Ogle, entrance to the airport road. Morning.